Hello, welcome to Studio Nicole. I am Nicole and I'm so glad that you're here with me. Today we are going to do part 2 of how to decorate the base layer of your Cascade journal. So in the first part of the video, I had taken my gessoed Cascade base and I started painting on it. I started with light colors, then built up slightly darker colors until I reached the amount of saturation that I wanted. And then I went in and did a little bit of mark making. I used some scribble lines with gelatos. I did some paint splatter with black. It's actually ink splatter. I did some writing with a gold pen, not real writing. It doesn't actually say anything. It's sort of like writing adjacent marks. And I did some stenciling. It was definitely a learning experience. I did some stenciling with paint. I used a couple of different colors, a light over the darker parts and a dark over the lighter parts. And I also used my ink and a brush like this. So today, what I wanted to show you is if you don't want to gesso your pages, or if your pages are super flimsy and you just want something a little heavier, the other option is to collage your papers. And you can do this with a mix of papers. Like you could theoretically pick any paper that you wanted and kind of glue it down and then just mimic the the shape of the tear, and then you glue this down and that becomes your page. You can do this on the fronts and the backs. You could do coordinating sets of papers. You could do different papers. Today I want to show you 2 ways that you can mimic something similar to this look but with collage paper instead. The first is just to so sorry. The first, let me move this out of the way. My desk is a mess all over again. And listen, look how sad I am. I have a bunch of wilted flowers on my desk and I'm so sad about it. My husband got me a flower press for Christmas and I was outside yesterday. We grilled out and I saw these little violets in the yard and I picked them because I wanted to bring them in and press them. And I was like, oh, this will be so fun. And then, life got away from me. I set them on my desk and then I completely forgot about them and didn't come back. And now I can't really press them because they're all wilted. So I am going to have to be a little bit more intentional next time. When I pull flowers to press, I need to make sure that I have time right then to press them. So, okay, bye-bye, little flowers. Now that my desk is a little bit clearer, I am going to just recreate exactly what I did yesterday, but on paper. So I just have 2 or 3. This is just printer paper. It's actually legal size just because I like to have a bigger, area to work on than regular printer paper. So I'm going to just pop these right on my desk. I'll probably do 2 of them because that's all I can comfortably fit. And the other piece ends up on the floor, as it should. Oh boy, folks, are we having fun? Now, if you have gesso and want to gesso your page, you can do that. Gesso will obviously make the paint behave differently, or the ink, since this particular layer is acrylic ink. But you don't have to, right? I'm not using anything. This is just acrylic ink on regular paper, and I am just coming in with a wet paintbrush and spreading it around. I am trying not to get it onto my desk pad, so I might not go all the way to the edges. All right, and then we're just gonna, maybe I'll just do 1 because I really want to get to the second part of this process and show you what it is. The part I'm really excited about is the second part. So right now I'm just trying to build up a base layer. You will notice if you're working without gesso that the paint tends to sink into the page, and it doesn't spread around as easily. So you can counteract that by making sure that your brush is nice and wet. So you can see this is the same paint with a wet brush, and this was a dry brush with just a blob of paint. You can see how you're kind of like trying to get coverage with it when it's dry. So it's up to you. If you like that look and that's what you're going for, then you can certainly do that. If you want something that's a little bit more fluid, then you just get your paint a little bit wet, or paintbrush even. Doesn't even have to be the actual paint itself. I'm overlapping a little bit, but I am trying to cover most of the background. I'm trying to get the colors kind of spread out on the page, so I don't have like yellow in just one place. I want it kind of in different places. And I'm building up with the same, the green. Oh my gosh, this lid will not stay open. So then when I tried to squeeze the paint out, it closed and I ended up with paint all in there. Anyway, I'm building up the same layers of green. I started with the Genesis green ink, and then I used the Limeade, I think is this apple barrel paint. And then I did some yellow, and oh look, there goes the lid entirely. This is Peridot. I think this is liquid pearl acrylic. This is a very old. Look, the thing just came off too. The lid came off, and the and the label came off. I don't know where I got this paint from. It must have been a yard sale or a Facebook Marketplace or something, because it's certainly not anything I would have just gone and bought at a store. I don't even know where you would get this brand or if they sell it anymore. It's a very old bottle of paint. But I like the transparency of it. And I like it's kind of a cool green instead of like a warm green, and I really do like that. This is a metallic peridot, so I'm going to build some of these layers up. Now, one thing that you can do that's kind of fun when you get to this stage, if you're working on just a single piece of paper, is you can kind of build in some like shapes. I love to do circles on a page, because this paper will eventually be cut up and scattered across multiple pages in your journal, because you're going to collage this over the backgrounds. So you're going to cut this up into tiny little strips to cover the background pages. And so nobody is going to see necessarily a whole circle on a page. Oh, you can't even see on the on the screen. I realized that the circles were really not very visible. They do exist. It just depends on the angle that you're looking at it, because this was the pearl. It's like a pearl acrylic. This one that I just did the circles with. Another thing that you can do is just do some mark making. This is my go-to mark making technique. If I want to make marks, then for some reason my brain just goes to these like hash marks, where I'm just like scattering hash marks on and off the page. And for me, the challenge is always making the blob look asymmetrical, because like you want to like, it's like a square. And so I'm always like trying hard to make sure that my little blob marks end up looking very organic on the page, which is not always easy to do. See, 'cause like that is very symmetrical, but then I just go in and start adding like additional lines to it until it feels a little different. And whenever I put an element on the page, I like to do it in 3 places. Even if it's just a little bit. I think that just helps the whole page feel a little cohesive. So I might also use a smaller brush to do the same color but a slightly different pattern, which is again another like go-to for me. And that is the same little hash marks, but really like narrow. So they're just like, they almost look like dashes, and I'm just using the end of a flat paintbrush to make them. And I do make sure to layer over, like I'm layering over the circle that I did, because that helps it to all feel connected. So none of the elements are like floating on the page. Now, the last color I'm going to use is some of this orange because I do want some of this accent color on here. And I'm going to do a couple of little just patches of the color over top of what's already on the page. And then I will do some more of these marks, perhaps, with this orange. I'm gonna do the same thing that I've been doing. I'm even overlapping here and there. So repetitive lines. And then we'll get out, I'm gonna get this out and do a little bit of the stencil so that it matches kind of what we did in the other one. I used this stencil and I used some paint and some ink. This stencil is, this pouncer is definitely not it, guys. It's like dried out from the paint that I used yesterday. And so it's definitely fighting me. But there we go. We've got our pattern showing up a little bit. And then I'll probably do a little bit of this dark green. And then I'm going to call this page. Oh, wait, no, I still need my scribbles and my splatters. Can't forget those. What am I thinking? But you can see this method is a lot faster, first of all, because we're not worrying about the drying stage in between the pages in your Cascade journal, right? Like that's the downside of using it, the actual journal base to do this, is that you can't close the pages without messing up your paint and your pages. So you have to stop and dry in between. And with this method where you're working on an alternate piece of paper and then you're going to collage it in later, you definitely do not have to do this. There's no, you could stop and dry in between if you wanted to, but it's really not necessary. It makes things a lot faster. And you don't need as much gesso because you don't have to cover up anything in the background from your brochure that you maybe don't want to see. Okay. All right. So I have some of my leaf shapes on here in the dark and the light. I am going to grab this orange gelato was the one that really showed up the best. So I'm going to grab that, add a little bit of scribble on here. Same thing with my gold. Maybe I do need to dry this, unfortunately. Before I try this gold marker on top of wet paint, I will ruin this marker. So I'm glad that I considered before I just tried it, because that definitely sounds like something I would do, and I would definitely be annoyed with myself if I did it. I like that gold marker. I don't want to ruin it. So don't use markers over wet paint. There's a rule. For Miss No Rules over here, that is a rule that you do kind of have to stick to, unless you like ruining your markers. I'm just adding a little bit of black splatter so that it matches the vibe. See if I can like thin that out a little bit. I do really like a little bit of black, but a lot of water because then you get such a like watered down look when it dries. I really like that. This is maybe too much. Too much. All right, that's enough splatter. It's going to start looking pretty messy if I keep going. All right, so I've done everything but the gold handwriting. I can do that another time, but you see the process. So now what I can do is I can tear this into strips and I can collage it down and I get the same effect, but without the gesso, without the drying time. Um, and it's, it definitely has a similar aesthetic. And probably what I will do is I will still use some of this. I can use that even on top of some of this if I want to. So, all right, that was part one of how to collage. All right, here's a really fun little bonus, bonus tip, I guess. If you don't have plain printer paper or like something large or legal size paper, you can still create your own large paper, and it is so much fun and it has so much texture to it. And I'm really excited to show you this because I love this technique. It's not mine. I don't own it. I didn't invent it. I think BB Henry, because I did the BB Bash earlier this year and it was super fun. And this is one of my favorite techniques and tricks from her stuff. So definitely go watch her original videos if you want to. But she created something called frankenpapers, which just makes me laugh. I absolutely love it so much. And essentially, what you're doing is I just have like a pile of very random papers, and I am going to start connecting them together into one larger sheet. Uh, so I want this music paper. I said I was going to connect them and then I start tearing. Maybe I don't know what that word means. But I want the music to show up in different places. So I am going to use my glue stick and I'm going to just start building a base. Look, glue, and then I'm sticking this down. And then over here, I'm going to go in with this piece, overlapping. And actually, it's funny. One of my upcoming workshops locally is an accordion fold book, which it's kind of a similar process to this. It's not exactly the same, but it's a little bit similar to this. So that's kind of fun. And I'm just putting down some glue stick around the edge, and then I'm kind of trying to like keep in mind where I stuck it, and then I'm sticking the paper over top of that. I don't want a whole lot of like glue stick on the exposed paper, just because it makes it harder to work with. But it's not the end of the world if it does. Like this is sticky because there's glue that was like outside the edge. It's okay. It'll dry. Not the end of the world. Don't worry too much about it. But then just start looking at how you can kind of build your paper. And build it out into whatever size and shape you want it. Woo-hoo. I like to overlap. Oh, I'm going to need a new glue stick. Look at that. That's the end of that, huh? Let's finish it up. This is not staying down very well. There are other things you can use. You can use tape, you can use staples. It's actually really fun to kind of get super fancy with whatever it is that you want to include in your frankenpaper. You can include like different textures, little cards. If you have piano roll, or if you have braille paper, or I mean, anything could be fun. I just grabbed a few random papers that I had nearby because I wanted to like prep quickly for this video. But if you really want to sit down and work on this, if you've got time to put into it, unfortunately, I am under a time crunch this morning, as always Sunday morning, because we've got breakfast coming up here soon, and I actually have some folks coming over later this afternoon, so I'm really trying to maximize my studio time this morning since I won't have any time this afternoon to get in here. So I am doing this in a very hasty manner, but hopefully not so hasty that you can't tell or see like why. Just moving this around on the page so that and I am not all that fussed about making sure that it's like it ends up being a square. Like I'm okay if it doesn't. Uh, I do have some glue on my under paper here, and so the page is like sticking to it. Okay, so like my edges are not like a perfect square, right? Like I'm not worried if they're kind of um awkward around the edge. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Now, I've got a couple of smaller pieces. Like if I wanted to, I could kind of fill in some of these gaps. I'm really trying to use the very last of this glue stick. Mainly just because I don't want to get up and go dig around in my stash to get a new one. I want to just finish this step and move on. But I think I'm going to have to because I don't think I'm going to get much more out of this. Maybe I can do it this way. Woo! It's going to work. I have faith. Trust the energy in the craft room, in the studio, right? Right. So we got down, and then I pulled this out, which is really just I had some like punch out. Actually, I think these were Dutch Christmas ornaments that you like paper fold together. And so I saved these because what a cool like texture on the page. I think I'm going to cut them though so that I have them in a couple of different places. Maybe I'm going to cut them. That was tricky. Woo. I was trying to cut them without cutting into the flower, although I guess it doesn't matter if I did. Oh, I'm definitely not going to be able to use this, but I can just use regular glue for this part. Because these are a little bit heavier than regular paper anyway, and so I will just use regular wet glue. This is clear tacky glue, probably Eileen's tacky. That's what my usual go-to. And I just fill up these like tiny little needlepoint bottles so that I have more precision. Because with that tacky glue, like you'll blob out like a whole bunch of glue at a time, and then you've got a bunch of glue. And what will you do with that? So I'm just sticking this down right over top of my existing pages. And then over here, let's do another one. Maybe now is when I do need the blob of glue because I feel like this is going to take a long time. I'll try to be quick. Ooh, what are we going to talk about while I'm gluing? How has your day been? How's your weekend been? It is Sunday for me. This is part 2 of week 3. So it'll probably be like the end of this week, Thursday or Friday when this finally gets posted. So how has your week been? I am expecting my week to be pretty good, actually. I have a lot of things going on this week. I have an adopt-a-highway, and I'm going to a livestock auction with a friend of mine, which is going to be interesting. Never done that before. I'm always up for something new. Let's go. Let's figure it out. So that sounds fun. All right, well, that's my week, and I'm going to just glue this down. Now, these little things are like sticking up. This is like the edge of a paper something, and I don't care that they're sticking up. I think that's fine. I thought I had another little strip of paper somewhere. I don't want to lose it, but I don't know where it went. So I guess I did lose it. Alas. Oh well. Now, this frankenpaper, let me give you a little bit better picture of the whole thing all at once. It's pretty big. And this now will serve as an excellent base for all of your collage materials, right? We do the same thing that we just did, only now we're doing it on this background. And we've got all this yummy texture. We have like physical texture because the pages are actually like layered on top of one another, but we also have visual texture from whatever cool stuff is in the background on these pages. And we have light colors, we have dark colors, everything reacts a little bit differently. And so we never quite know what we're going to get. And it really is a great exercise in sort of letting go of expectations, because I find that I think one of the biggest problems that folks have, maybe not problem, but one of the biggest obstacles that people have with mixed media is that they expect a certain outcome when they sit down. And when it doesn't result in quite the way they expected, then they feel like they've done it the wrong way. Somehow like something is wrong, like they didn't get it right. And I don't want people to feel that way. I just don't want you to feel that way. Nobody needs that kind of pressure. And so this is a great activity for like, just see what happens, you know, especially if you have a color palette that you've already swatched out and you like the way it looks together. Then you really can't go wrong as long as you're using your colors and you know that they go well together and they don't create mud and you're happy with the way that they look. If you like them on a blank page, you will love them on a project like this, on a piece of frankenpaper, where every stroke of your paintbrush is an experiment to see, like, what does this paint look like here? What does it look like layered over this? Like, how does it react when you paint over top of the other colors? It's such a fun, it's just fun, guys. I don't know what to say. I'm going to go back in with this painting, this peridot that I have no cap for. Woo, I'm making a mess again. Paint everywhere. I feel like that is my MO though. I feel like if I was not being messy, y'all would be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay, Nicole? What's wrong? Why are you not being messy today?" Oh, this is fun though. This really is. I love frankenpapers and I love this kind of like super loose, relaxed, mixed media. Just like, I don't know. It's like an extravaganza. It is the ultimate embodiment of no rules. And I love it. I'm just painting my colors on, adding in some of this yellow onto some of these empty places. Oh, look at how good that yellow looks on top of that brown, like the brown packing paper that I included. So yummy. I love the contrast of that. I realize that you can't quite see the variation. When I'm looking at the camera screen to see like what you're seeing, the color variation just doesn't come through. It's just not being captured. I don't know if I just don't have the right webcam or if I don't have the right color mix. But it's gorgeous, guys. It really is. And you can see some of the music pages or some of the book text like peeking through the background. You can see the layers where everything is overlapping. And we can do um, the exact same mark making here that we did on the other page. Again, because we want it to feel cohesive. We want it to feel like it all connects together. So I'm going to blob some of this on. Maybe. Oh, well, it's going to blob there. Blob a little bit of this on. And I'm going to paint some of those circles that I painted earlier. I actually realized that I didn't do these circles in the book itself when I worked on the pages. And so I need to go back in and add some of these circle shapes in because I love a good big painty circle. And again, I'm using this weird color shift pearl paint, so I know you can't necessarily see the circles super well, but when the light shifts, they really show up. And I love that. And I can even do probably with my darker paint, right? We could do some circles in dark. And they don't have to be perfect. Nobody cares. There are no art police coming to tell you that your circles are wonky. It's okay. Let's support this. And then we'll do some more hash marks because I liked how those really looked. So over here, I try to look at areas of the page where it feels kind of flat. Like maybe there's not a lot of like layering happening. And then that's where I'll try to go in and add, whatever detailing I'm going to add to the page. I try to do contrasting colors. And I do try to make my marks go all the way off the page so that they don't look like they're floating on the page. I think that's uh it's another kind of trick to make what you're doing feel like it's part of something larger. Right? Let's just sort of go off the page with it. So I'm coming in with this orange. This page looks absolutely gorgeous. I love this. And I don't know what I want to do with it because I'm not even sure if I want I don't know. Because I already did like one of my why can't I think? Because I'm painting and my brain doesn't work when I have a paintbrush in my hands. Just want to paint and focus on that. What was I saying? Okay. I've already got my base painted with this color palette, and so I am not sure if I want to use. Look, there's some yummy circles. Oh, circles in my book. I'm not sure if I want to use this paper that I'm painting right now to go in this, or if I want to do another one in the same palette. I might do that. I might do a second one in the same palette. And then I can just sort of compare them. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I was thinking I might want to save this for another project entirely because I'm really excited about it and I love how it's turning out. And I can think of a lot of things that I would like to maybe do with this, but okay. Just again, building layers, building texture. Getting all of these colors across the page so that when you cut this up and you rip it or you tear it and you use it in different places, you don't want any one part of this to feel like it's not connected to the rest. So we want the same colors and the same patterns kind of spilling across the whole page. Sorry about all the throat clearing. Oh, I forgot to take my allergy medication last night when I went to bed, and I'm actually just recently starting like a nighttime allergy. I used to take used to take my meds in the morning, and I had a whole alarm on my phone and a routine in the morning to do that. And then I realized I'm supposed to be taking, well, my doctor suggested allergy meds, and I realized I need to take those at night instead of in the morning. So I'm trying to switch my whole allergy or my whole medication thing to night, because it doesn't really matter with my heart. I have like heartburn medication. It doesn't matter if I'm taking that during the day or night. So does it? I don't think it does. I didn't even really think. I just kind of assumed maybe that's not right. Anyway, I didn't take it last night. I'm trying to get in the habit of taking them at night, but it's a new habit for me and I'm having a hard time with it. So I didn't take it, and I can definitely tell this morning that I didn't take it last night because I feel all congested and blah. Okay, I'm gonna wet my paintbrush and do some, oh look, that was a big splatter. I'm gonna do some more splatters with this like watered down. Okay. I can do a little acemic writing with this gelato crayon, because this, you can't really hurt this thing. It's like a wax crayon almost. And so I can definitely do, oh, I smeared through the black ink though. Should have done this before I did the black. Although it's kind of a neat effect, so who cares? So with the gelato, can you see? It's got like the ink on it. You can just wipe it right off. It's just like a crayon. These are super fun and they come right off. Okay. This is what I got. I'll bring it a little closer so you can see kind of some of the pattern and some of the detailing. So this is what happened when I tried to write through the black ink splatter with the gelato. But I really think I like how that looks. Like it kind of turned out really nicely. Same thing happened here a little bit. Kind of smeared the black a little bit, but I just like it. So yeah, from a distance, you see I've got this big old piece of paper. On the back, if I turn it over, it still looks like, a regular piece of frankenpaper with nothing decorated. But on the front, it's gorgeous. It's so yummy. The next step would be to dry this and then start cutting it or tearing it. I would probably tear it. I probably would not cut this. Let me think. Let me think about that. Because, sorry, I'm gluing down this little piece that came loose. So if you think about your book, this edge in the middle, especially if you're going to do a different facing page, like you could go across the spine with one piece, right? And just like have one piece that covers both of these pages and then just crease it in the middle. You would need to use a bone folder or, your fingernail or something to really get into that crease. Maybe even score it so that it's torn at that edge, right? Like with I don't know about an X-Acto knife. That might be like too extreme. You might cut through the whole pages. But I have this it's for like carving clay. And so like maybe what I would do is if I laid a whole piece down here, then I would just go in and kind of like score the middle right down the center so that it'll fold nicely, because otherwise it's not going to want to close, because you're going to have all of these if you do that over and over and over again, it's really going to bulk up the spine. You're going to have a hard time closing your Cascade journal. So either do a hard edge and do half of it, and then another hard edge and another half, which is a little complicated, but it does mean that you can get like variations on both sides. You could maybe do this kind of paper in some places and then alternate it with like a scrapbook paper in a coordinating color, or just some book pages if you just wanted like plain book pages or music paper on your other side. Oh, well, I tried to grab a book page and I didn't really succeed. But you could do like this on one side and book page on the other side. I'm not showing this very well, am I? But do you understand what I'm saying? The next video, I probably will I probably will do this. Will I do this? Maybe it'll be like a bonus video, kind of at the end, possibly, because I kind of want to just move on and keep going and decorating. We'll see how much time I get in the studio between the now and the time when you guys need a new video, like the next steps. If I get some time to actually, collage this in and glue this down, I might videotape it or videotape like I'm from the 1990s. I mean, I am from the 1990s, but film. Record. That's the word I'm going with. I might record this if I get some time to do it. Or if I don't, then maybe I'll do it at the end of the series and it'll be like a little bonus at the end and where you can see like the alternate Cascade journal. So I hope that you have had a good time. I hope you enjoy frankenpaper. Please take some pictures and show me what you came up with because this is such a fun project and I love to see how it all turns out. So if you make frankenpaper, then please show me. Same thing with your painted pages. If you are just using plain white printer paper, like realistically, both of these are super fun and fantastic, and it doesn't matter which way you choose. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. I just want to give you some options and some different techniques you can play around with. So let me know what you decided to play with and let me see how it turned out. I love to see other people's art. Thanks so much for being here, folks. I hope you had a good time. I will see you in the next video.